to share today are some tips on how to tackle these job boards, kind of as a first step, or maybe second step on your job search. I would say maybe the first step is working on that resume. And we had a great webinar last week. Some of our other TA team, Michael and Katie, covered that. I may send that link out when I send out the information today, so you guys can catch that if you missed it. But we're going to take it slow and simple and just really focus on job boards today. If you have other questions, we'll try to get to everything. But if we kind of get way too far off topic, we may take the conversation offline. And then maybe you'll give us some ideas for future webinars. So we're going to start off and talk about, first of all, ACDS, who we are, who these people are who are telling you things and why you should listen to us. This ReSkill Arkansas program, many of you may be a part of this, or you may have never heard of that before. Of course, we're going to talk about different job boards. Which ones do we recommend, do we really like, and what's the difference between some of them? I'm going to jump into a Chrome tab and show you guys a couple of job boards, what to make sure you're looking at and clicking on your profile settings and that kind of stuff. What should your game plan be when you are officially putting yourself out there and creating a new account on a new job board? I'm a big Google fan. Google job alerts are fantastic. I think Google knows everything there is to know about me, so why not tell them what jobs I'm looking for too? And then what should you search? We kind of have a couple of different career paths in IT that we focused on through a lot of our webinars. So if you're specifically looking for a development job or a data analyst job or a cyber job, what could the job titles be that people are out there posting? What should you actually be searching for? And then we've got some fun hot jobs, things that we found that are posted right now that we recommend that you check out and see if they're of interest to you. So first off, who's talking today? I guess I'm the one in the middle. I am Kristen. I just got married, and spoiler alert, that is a picture from my wedding. It's a recent, decent picture. So at some point, I guess, when my name officially changes, I will just be Kristen Shryock, but have a couple of names right now. We've also got Ashley French, my boss and our Director of Talent Acquisition. Please chime in, and I know she will anytime she has other tips or hints or answers to some great questions. And then we've got Katie French, another one of our talent recruiters, most senior of the recruiters on the team. And she is going to help field, another sports reference, field all of our questions. So any good questions you've got, send them in the chat and she'll tell us to shut up and make sure we're talking about what y'all want to. All right. So ACDS is the Arkansas Center for Data Sciences. We didn't tag ourselves today, but a lot of the people with cameras on today are members of ACDS, a great nonprofit that I joined a couple of months ago. And I'm so excited to work on our mission of helping people find jobs in Arkansas, find IT jobs. There are so many people in the state who are looking for jobs, and there are so many IT employers who need people, and there are more people that they need than there are people graduating from college with a computer science degree. So what we're doing is we're looking to help these employers and help candidates like you guys. What skills can we help train you on, whether it's career search like we're talking about today, or whether it's specific IT training like we've got some great references for. What can we do to help in these fun areas of cybersecurity, data analytics, development, SQL analysts, and other IT related positions? Want to make sure we're keeping the great talent that we know we have in Arkansas and getting some people back to work. Hello, 2020. So one great program that kind of came out of last year is this ReSkill Arkansas program. We know specifically last year that so many people, certain industries just kind of realized that we didn't need them when we were all stuck inside, or business just slowed way down. I worked retail for 7.5 years, and I suffered some salary cuts and struggles last year too. I think so many of us really kind of understood if we were really essential or not. That whole psychological discussion is for another day, I guess. But really finding people that found themselves out of work, maybe unexpectedly, or not making the same money that they were last year. And we're here to help you. So you guys may have participated in some of our webinars previously. This is kind of our application process for that program. Want to remind you that if you're in this program, please keep going, keep pushing along. We've got people kind of stopped at every step along the way. If you have received that assessment, be sure you go ahead and take that. The assessment links expire after about 5 days, and we can resend those if you need them. If you've taken your assessment and you've qualified for training, jump on it. There's some great resources there for all these different areas that we've kind of talked about, a lot of different areas of IT, whatever you're really interested. And it's self-paced and it's a free resource for you. So why not? If you signed up, don't forget to do it, right? Make yourself a good goal. It's a fresh year, get started off right, and get those classes knocked out. And then we're here. So if you're doing some of that stuff and you want to chat or you've completed a class, then we'll probably be in touch with you. Ashley and I are starting to have some fun coaching sessions coming up these next couple of weeks. What can we do to improve resumes and get resumes ready to go out there on these job boards that we're going to talk about today? So guys, here's the list. Without further ado, these are kind of the top 6 that I have found through a lot of the job searching that we've done and sites that we're going to recommend that you check out. A couple of differences between some of them I want to mention first, and then we'll kind of jump over into a browser and dig around a little bit. I think everybody's heard of Indeed. Everybody knows Indeed. That was the first place I went when I was job seeking. I know that, oh good, we've got some chats. All right. I know that they have a great mobile app and they have a great regular app. Okay, making sure everybody can see me and hear me. Okay. And you can search pretty much anything and everything. Great thing about Indeed is it's easy to separate and search the job title. So you definitely want to have some titles, some job titles in mind, and a location. And you can be pretty generic on that location. You can just search Arkansas, or you can search really a specific location too. LinkedIn is really focused on that networking, linking with people. Our TA team was having a conversation earlier this afternoon, and I think we all kind of concluded that so much of the job search is about networking. So spoiler alert, that may be a future webinar topic. But LinkedIn makes that so much easier. You can do it without having to put on pants and go to a career fair like you used to have to do. You know, you can do it on your computer, on your mobile phone. Arkansas Tech Jobs is a really cool kind of just local to Arkansas site. One of the things I love about Arkansas Tech Jobs is that the audience is smaller. So people who don't want to work in Arkansas aren't going to be on Arkansas Tech Jobs. If you know you're looking for a job in Arkansas, it's substantially going to eliminate your competition because only people who you know want to work in Arkansas are going to be there. And only Arkansas employers are posting there. And I think there are employers who are really serious about keeping and finding Arkansas talent. So the people that we are, the people that we want them to be after, right, are on that site. And it's not as overwhelming because there's not as many jobs. So it's another great place to go. Glassdoor kind of started off, I remember, and you guys may remember, as, oh, I want to know how much I'm going to make, kind of this salary website when I was in college and looking for my first job, I guess close to 10 years ago now. We were there to see how much people were going to make in different areas. And now Glassdoor is starting to trickle into the job board area too. ZipRecruiter, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of hit or miss for me. I know a lot of people really like it. I didn't have a ton of luck with ZipRecruiter, but it was definitely worth posting a resume out on and seeing what hits you get from it. My dad actually got his job from ZipRecruiter, so I do know someone who was hired from ZipRecruiter. And then Career Builder is another good one. I'll be honest, not crazy familiar with that one. One of our other TA guys may have some more good background on Career Builder. But one other thing I wanted to mention, and Katie, please jump in here. She has helped me recommend the kind of the local Chamber of Commerce job sites. Katie, anything good there?
So you know that you are geographically bound to Northwest Arkansas. You can go look at the Fayetteville Chamber of Commerce website, and it has jobs from all these Fayetteville employee or companies that are members of the Chamber of Commerce. Same for Little Rock. Just about anywhere you go, they are very much likely to have a Chamber of Commerce job board. So if you're bound to Central Arkansas, if you're bound to Northwest Arkansas, Northeast Arkansas, it's just a great tool because not a lot of people think of it. But it certainly, I mean, jobs are jobs. They're there.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So let's jump out of here and go look at some of these. So I've got Indeed pulled up. Thumbs up, team. Can y'all see my screen? Everybody follow along with me? All right. So this was obviously a test search, blah, blah. I don't think it returned anything. So let's look up entry level developer. I was a developer myself. And I'm just going to put Arkansas in general. Those are really the only two things that you need. I'm on Indeed, by the way. Those are really the only two big things that you need to search here. You really don't even have to search a location, but I'm going to recommend as much as you know to go ahead and type in and narrow down. And then we'll see a ton of awesome results here. Entry-level computer programmer, front-end developer, software development engineer. Notice none of these things are named the same. That's kind of the trick when it comes to job searching. You can't just look for one thing. You kind of have to figure out how many different ways you can cut the cake. You know, how many different ways can we call it the same thing, but not the same thing. There's also some other great filters up here. If you are only looking for remote jobs, you can search here for those. If you want to look for the super recent stuff or the older stuff, sometimes the things that have been posted longer, they're more, you know, serious about finding because it's been posted for so long. So it might be a little bit easier to land in fewer applicant buckets there. Or if you have specific companies you kind of want to narrow down, a lot of cool ways that you can kind of narrow things down here. But you just click on any one and it brings you over here to the posting. This is a great example because we notice it tells us to apply on the company site. So this is something Ashley and I were talking about earlier. Sometimes you can't do this. Sometimes you have to apply on Indeed or LinkedIn or whatever the job board is. But anytime that you can, we recommend going to the company site to apply. Ashley, why does that give a candidate a leg up?
So, yeah, and when we get to the hot jobs, this was kind of the method I was using last night is I had a separate browser and I just Googled, you know, careers for, you know, DXC or Gainwell, you know, whatever the company is. And the biggest reason is you want to make sure that you're in control of the resume format and all of the data that's getting pushed to the company is complete. You know, in my past recruiting roles, we've had candidates have incomplete applications because they were using the preset quick apply Indeed. And I totally understand, you know, from a time investment standpoint, yes, it is much easier to go click, click, click. Oh, that's great. But when a recruiter is reviewing hundreds of applications, you know, I think you really want to make the effort to make sure your resume and your application is fully complete. Because if one field is left off, sometimes the recruiter, the systems are so fancy the way they're configured, the recruiter may not even see it because you failed to answer one of their application questions.
And it kind of, in a weird way, will give a recruiter the warm and fuzzy because you went to their company site instead of just applying through Indeed where anybody could find it. But you went to their company site. They were looking for us. You know what I mean? A little bit of the warm and fuzzies.
Well, and I feel like that Indeed format of a resume, I liked it at first, but over 5 years of seeing that format as the most frequently looked at resume, I'm over it.
And
I know, I think
too. It's page after page after page after page. All right. So let's see. Let's check out any questions on Indeed. Are we getting anything yet that we need to talk about, Katie?
We do have one question. Does the Easy Apply send over all the Indeed assessments as well?
Yes, because it attaches that to the bottom of your Indeed resume. So it will show every Indeed assessment that you've taken, which sometimes is a good thing. I don't know that it's really the most important thing you want to be sure that the employer is seeing. I remember when I was posting jobs as a recruiter on Indeed, I could pick what specifically that I wanted candidates to do. So if I wanted a candidate to answer an assessment or take one, then I would put it on there. If not, it didn't really bother me as much. There's so many other great things that we would rather you put on your resume and take up that real estate than Indeed assessments. Good question. Let's see, apply on company site. A lot of these are taking you to the company site anyway. So yeah, we kind of recommend using these kind of as the new newspaper, right? You look in the newspaper, you look on the job board, you see what the job is, and then you go to the company site and go apply for it there. All right, let's go back here and look at our game plan. So we've seen kind of a basic, pretty popular job site. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with some of those other ones. So now what do? If you've just made an Indeed profile, you're getting back out there, it's been a while since you've looked for a job. What do you need to do to make sure you're ready and current? Number one is upload a resume. Notice we didn't say use the system to create the Indeed resume or create the LinkedIn resume. We said upload your resume because your resume should be unique to you. It shouldn't be the same one that Indeed makes for every single person. I know Indeed has different templates now. Let it go, guys. Let it go. You want to be able to customize as much as possible. The other big benefit to this, and most of these sites allow you to have multiple documents, is you can kind of tailor a resume to a job posting or kind of a category of job postings. So sometimes it's hard to do it specific for the position, which we always recommend as much as possible. But even if you just wanted to have kind of this is my analyst job posting or this is my analyst resume and focuses on the stuff that I've done from a data perspective, the courses I've taken, the projects I've done, the online tutorials I've completed, my objective, right? Everything's focused and geared towards data analyst job. And then here's my developer resume. As specific as you can get, you definitely want to do. And it's hard, if not impossible, to do that with the generic resumes from these sites. Step two is to complete your profile as much as possible. Sometimes I know today, if something's not required, we don't want to enter it. Big Brother and all of that jazz. But the one big thing we want to tell you to make sure you include is where you're seeking a job. So location. And I'll tell you, I learned a lesson on this one. You guys may all be looking for a job in the same place that you're currently living, but I was not. I was moving from Arkansas over to North Carolina, where my now husband and I live, and I still had Arkansas as my location and not North Carolina. And that was potentially knocking me out of a lot of jobs, because if they were looking for somebody in North Carolina, I looked like I was in Arkansas. So you want to make sure your location is as broad as you can make it. If you are open to relocation, and that's something I would really think about and kind of talk about with your family if necessary, like how far am I willing to drive, or are we willing to move? Sometimes when you just broaden your radius on your job search, you never know what more you could find. So playing around with that location a little bit is really important. And then make sure you put all your professional contact information. I say professional on purpose because your super cool 7th grade email address may not bring you as many ladies. It may not bring you the jobs like it did the ladies in junior high. So be sure you have a good professional email address. I know it's kind of hard to change an email address, but maybe you just want to make one for job seeking. You can have just your resume or your email address for job seeking. I think I saw somebody's that was like hiremichael@gmail.com or something like that, which was kind of funny. Still professional, I think, but kind of funny.
Kristen, real quick.
Yeah.
How do you let prospective employers know that you're willing to relocate on a resume?
Yes, good question. I would use that objective or an about me or whatever you kind of want to call it. And usually at the top, kind of the first place, I'm looking for an opportunity in this location, or I'm currently in this city, open to moving anywhere in the state of Arkansas. That's what I did on mine. I made sure I said where I'm looking for an opportunity. Another cool way you could do that is potentially in a cover letter. If you want to add a cover letter and tell a little bit more about why you're looking to go somewhere else or what you're open to. Anybody else have any other suggestions?
I've seen it in the contact information. So at the very, as one of the, phone number, email address, maybe there's a star asterisk open to relocation. Or specifically, I remember always getting burnt by calling a candidate that on their resume said open for relocation, but when you call them and say it's in Little Rock, Arkansas, for some reason, a senior SQL developer, data scientist didn't want to relocate there. So sometimes I would be more inclined when I would see on a cover letter, I'm looking to relocate to Little Rock, Arkansas to be closer to family, or, and I know in the job search, you want to be careful on disclosing any type of family, but to really explain why Little Rock, why Northwest Arkansas, if that makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of time an employer, it's a risk sometimes if they pay to have you move, and what if you don't like Little Rock, or what if you don't like the area? But if they know that you have family there and that's really why you're looking to get to that area, then they're much more open to take that opportunity on somebody who's not local. In my experience working with hiring managers, for sure. Good questions. All right, so professional email. And while we're talking about professional contact, guys, check your voicemail. Have somebody call you and see what happens. It may not be something you think about, but I've done this so many times. I've called a candidate, super excited about them, just wanted to get them on the phone, and their voicemail box isn't set up, or their voicemail box is full. I don't have an iPhone. I don't know how it works on those, or if it's even carrier based. I'm not really sure. But maybe you can save off some old messages. Make sure you've got enough room for a potential recruiter to leave you a message or get in touch with you. You never know what voicemail you could get. All right. So step 3 in our game plan is to be public. You don't have to make your Facebook profile public, but you want to make your job search profile public. You want people to be able to find you, for sure. What does this mean? A lot of times it means that a recruiter like Katie or Ashley or a company can go out there and search you. They can put in keywords like we're looking for somebody with SQL experience, specifically with the DB2 database, or we're looking for somebody who's in this location and has completed this many certifications. Or whatever it is that they're looking for. And so the more that you have of the relevant information on your resume, on your profile, the more likely somebody is to find you if they do a search. And the other thing too is just, if you can, I know LinkedIn does it, and we'll walk you through this in a minute, is to say that you're open to work. So let's go do that actually right now on LinkedIn together. You guys may have already done this, but if not, we'll show you how here. So I'm going to go to my LinkedIn page. And I am not the LinkedIn master. We have one of those on our call. So Michael, no LinkedIn page judgment here. But I know this one, it's pretty quick and easy. We're going to just change this little open to at the bottom. And we're going to say we're open to what? Finding a new job. And I will change this back, boss. Don't worry if I change this. All right, guys. So notice this is a required thing. It says, tell us what kind of work you're open to. LinkedIn does a lot of really cool hard work for us. And if you say you're looking for an IT job, it's not going to send you truck driver jobs. Those I would definitely not be qualified for. Can't even park my car. So we want to make sure that we're searching for the right stuff, and we're asking LinkedIn to tell us the right stuff. We'll talk about what those job titles should be in a minute. Once again, location. You got to tell it where you're looking for. I am actually living in Greensboro now, so that's why my location is set to Greensboro. You can add multiple locations. So if you're open to working in a couple of places, if you're open to working in Central or Northwest or Northeast Arkansas, throw them all on there. If you're open to remote work, this doesn't mean you only are looking for remote work. It means you are open to it. And I think we all know, you can tell that I'm at home. I'm in my guest bedroom. A lot of us are working at home right now. So that can only help you these days. Don't have to put a start date. You can if you want to. If you're looking immediately, I would probably click that anyway. Can't hurt. Michael, do you know what that does by chance? If there's any difference in how it markets you if you click immediately or flexible?
The only way I can think of is if like a recruiter does a Boolean search to search for those exact words. I'm not sure otherwise though, if it is a big factor. But yeah, as you said, it's a good idea to put on there immediately if you are available immediately. Can't
hurt, that's for sure. What type of work are you looking for? And then down here, we can say who can see that you're open to work. And we get sometimes you can't let your current employer know that you're open to work and your current employer's on LinkedIn. We totally get that and need to be respectful of that. If you are able to, we are going to recommend saying all LinkedIn members. You may be able to tell this kind of puts a little green badge on your profile picture that says open to work. And it makes sure that anybody, not just people with a LinkedIn recruiter subscription, will be able to see you. When I worked as a recruiter hiring manager at a Fortune 500 company and didn't have a LinkedIn recruiter subscription, just had a regular LinkedIn. So I wouldn't have been able to see that, for example, on people. So once again, if you can, mark that all LinkedIn members on there. And then you just click add to profile and now people will know that you're open to work. Definitely something we recommend to do on LinkedIn when you're ready to get your name out there. All right, back to our presentation. So the last part of our game plan is to do some searches and save them and set up alerts. Let these systems do as much of the work for you as possible. All of us here are interested in IT, so that means we have a good bit of laziness in us because we want to let computers do some of the work that we otherwise would. So let it do it. The next slide, we're going to talk about what to search. So create a couple of different ones. With a couple different job titles and save those for the areas that you're looking for. And then on most all of these sites, you can set it to where it sends you an email and then you'll receive all of the new jobs. Oh, before we get to those, I'm a Google fan, guys. Like I said, Google knows everything else about me. So I figured I'd let them help me on my job search too. And this was something I did when I was looking. And I kind of got used to getting a daily email with my Google job alerts. You can set up a Google alert for most anything. One day, if I become rich and famous, I may set up a Google alert that tells me whenever somebody posts something about me online. I'm not there. I don't know if I really ever want to be there. But for now, I can set up a job alert. So I'm going to back out again and show you guys how to do this. It's super easy. First thing we're going to do is literally just Google search some job title and location. We're going to click on Explore Jobs to get into their interface. And then look at some of the filters, set it up how we want, and then save it. And then rinse and repeat if you want to keep doing it and set up a couple. So here we are at a plain Google page. What's a job that somebody's looking for right now? How about we set one up that's relevant? Anybody? What are you job searching for right now? Cybersecurity. Beautiful. That's the first one I saw. Cybersecurity jobs in Arkansas. Pretty simple, right? So we've got this cool little job pop up that's going to come up first. We're not going to come to the results. We see that we've got Indeed, but we're going to come up here to this little Google thing and click on 100+ more jobs. So there's a lot. That's a good sign. And we've got this cool little Google job search interface here. And there's a ton of stuff that we can do. We can see, guys, they kind of scrape from a lot of different existing job sites. So you may see some jobs here that you've already seen if you're job searching. May already be something you've applied for. You can bookmark them. I did this and kind of saved a couple to a list. So I could come back in a couple days or a couple weeks, see if it's still posted, anything like that. We can see this one's from ZipRecruiter, 50 states jobs. Some of this may actually give you another place to go and look for other jobs, may give you some ideas. All right, but to save a search, we'll come up here and finalize it first. See if there's any other titles we want to add to here. If we want to add security specialist, let's see what else is good up here. Apprentice, I like apprentice. Location, we can come in here. I'm going to say 60 miles. That's about as far as I want to drive every day. We can click work from home. Notice that one's trending. You can click a lot of specific locations if you want to. Can kind of filter on date posted. I just want to get everything. Anyway, come in here and filter as much as you want. And then down here in the bottom left-hand corner, we're going to turn this job alert on. So now we've set up an alert for all of those filters that we just added. We can manage these alerts, and it's going to send to my work email. So if you're logged in to a Gmail account, it will send to you. We've got an alerts tab up here, and you'll see this one with my selected filters is going to send every day for me. So every day I'll get an email with the new jobs under those filters, which makes it super easy. Don't even have to go looking for them every day. You can just kind of start with these and go from there. Cool, making sense? Everybody with me? All right. So now let's talk about what to search for. So if you have been to an Arkansas Center for Data Science webinar before, if you're in our ReSkill program, you've probably seen some of these job titles. These are kind of how we've separated a lot of our major IT career paths. The first one here is an IT generalist, also kind of known as a Helpdesk Technician. Y'all, there are a lot of names for this one specifically. So here are a few other things that we recommend that you search for. Help desk specialist, IT support, technical analyst, desktop support admin. You may see more and more things as you're looking. I would create a search for every single one of these. I would go on my LinkedIn page and put every single one of these that I'm looking for. I think I learned on LinkedIn, Michael taught me that you can only have 5 there. Max it out, as many as you can possibly have, because you never know what somebody's going to potentially call it, and you don't want to miss something because you called it the wrong thing. The next one is Cybersecurity Analyst or IT Security. I think one of our most popular searches. A lot of people are interested in this right now, which is great because we can't have enough, let's be honest. So you can also search for IT Security Analyst, or spell it out, y'all, Information Security Analyst. I know it looks the same, but you never know. One of them may give you something completely different. That one doesn't have as many different names to it, so it's a little bit easier. But some companies call it InfoSec or Information Security. Some companies call it Cybersecurity. Don't want to limit yourself, once again. Data Analyst. This one doesn't have a ton either. May want to put SQL Analyst, SQL, in there. Spelled analyst. No, I spelled analyst right there. It's a funny word when you're staring at it for a while. Business Analyst is another one. And then Data Specialist as well. And then the last one we've got is anything developer related. So there's a ton here. Web developer, software developer, front-end developer, application developer, and maybe specific with the language, Java developer, .NET developer, C# developer, whatever, Python developer. Might have some great quality assurance, a quality assurance or QA tester, a QA analyst, pretty much anything you can come up with, try it. But what we want to be sure that we tell you is don't stop at the job title. So be sure you're reading that job posting and see if it's something you're interested in. Don't just apply for it because it has the right name. Really look at it and see what it's asking for, what are the requirements. One of the things that we were talking about earlier is kind of looking at the actual requirements and then the preferred requirements. So the things you've got to have and then the nice to haves. Guys, none of us are perfect. Hate to break it to you right now. If you didn't learn it in 2020, we might need to have a talk about what you did in 2020. But none of us are going to meet every single criteria on a job post. And I know, interestingly enough, females are less likely to apply to a job if they don't meet a pretty high percentage of the criteria. So if you're an Enneagram 1 like me and a perfectionist, try to wipe that away and just get your name out there. Doesn't have to meet 100% of those qualifications. So let's check our chats. How we doing? Anybody have any other
I think we're doing good. You know, one thing I did want to chime in, Kristen, just because of, you know, today's job market is so competitive. I talked to a candidate yesterday that, you know, was just struggling on the frustration of throwing out 200 applications and only getting, I think, 2 interviews. So, you know, it is somewhat a numbers game. So as best as you can, you know, I think some key takeaways is make sure your resume is tailored. Make sure that, you know, you have an objective. And if you have a skill or a software that's in that job description, don't forget on the back end, there is some fancy computer software doing a keyword match, checking to see, you know, do you have, if the position in the job description, it says Microsoft Excel, Tableau, you know, make sure those details are listed. And then also when you're searching, you know, let's try to capture some of these remote employers that are based outside of Arkansas opening to hire anyone. So feel free to put in for that location remote, and then you'll really expand on all of these great opportunities, you know, to really target at.
Kristen, we do have one question that really kind of relates to what we're talking about with resumes. Do you recommend having keywords on your resume that are in the job posting itself to get past the ATS? I think it's really relevant to the article that Michael actually shared with the TA team earlier today. Do you want to touch on it a bit?
Sure. So there's a kind of, I think, this fear of an ATS. It's almost like, oh, no one can get past the ATS. It's this big black box that no one can figure out how to get past it. And Michael found this really interesting article today that kind of dispelled that rumor. And I can only speak on my experience, but from all the recruiting I did, every single resume was in front of a human's eyeballs. And I think most resumes today are somehow filtered out by a person, by a recruiter. So first of all, to answer your question, absolutely. Keywords are important, but they're not important to get past software. They're important to showcase that you have the right skills for the job. The goal is not to hack the system, right? The goal is to showcase that you are the best candidate. One of my big takeaways when I was kind of reading that article was really that so much of the job search is really about the people side and the networking side. So maybe kind of go into your LinkedIn and looking at some of what those keywords, Walker, would be that you may put in your job posting and talk about what you know about it. Talk about your experience. Follow some of those keywords. See what people are posting. Take it a little bit of a step further. Absolutely don't, y'all, and I read this and I couldn't even believe people did it. Copy and paste, I read this the other day, copy and paste the job description and put it in white font to get past the ATS. Please never tell your friends to do that either. It's almost like totally a red flag to me, actually. But yes, be sure that you're tailoring your resume, kind of going back to what we were saying, tailoring your resume to the job that you're applying for, making sure you've got the right things that they're looking for sure. Anybody else have anything to add on that topic?
I think, a good example is if there's 10, skills that are mentioned on the job description and you have 6 of those, make sure you have a skill section on your resume and those are in there. I think a skills section is a really easy way to organize your resume. And it's truthfully the first thing I look at when I look at a resume is an organized skill section. So I would definitely recommend that.
Awesome. I'm looking for some other questions coming in.
So Kristen, I think, if you scroll up, there was one talking about for IT security type of positions specifically, and it was 2-part, what were some formal and non-formal certifications to help break into it? And then also kind of, soft skills.
Oh, good question. I'm actually may send over, who was that asked? I think we have your question on your registration, actually. We will be sure we send over to you the presentation we did a couple weeks ago, because it's got some great documentation on here's some certifications. You know what I'm going to tell you, and I'm not trying to cop out, look at the job postings. Go out there and see, here's what people are asking for. I will be honest, I did not work in IT security, but I would totally go to the job posting and see, are they requiring a Security Plus certification? Some of these certifications are really expensive and take a lot of time, and you don't want to go down this path that maybe the company would pay for, or may not even be a requirement for you to have to get. So I know that's kind of a cop-out type answer. Ashley, do you have anything else to add to that one?
So yeah, based on some of the hot jobs we're going to pull up, it looks like Simmons Bank, who has an opening in Little Rock, specifically wants to see some Azure experience, and then in Microsoft SQL, which, those aren't all, traditional cybersecurity, IT security skills. And then we did a survey a couple months ago with some hiring managers, and, Security Plus was kind of the one certification that kept coming up. But, when you look at the soft skills from the hiring managers we've worked with, it is that, being able to, that need to protect the system, but also being able to, think like the bad guy, to be able to prevent, to think like a hacker. But I'll definitely grab that from our past webinar and follow up with you on that.
The other thing I'm thinking about specific soft skills for cyber is figuring out how to deliver the not best news in a nice way.
Oh, good. Yeah. You're the no person.
Yeah, if I were interviewing for a cyber job, I would probably ask about a time when you had to do that. When did you have to deliver news that you knew the person wasn't going to want to hear? Because that's a lot of times in an IT department, that's what an InfoSec or a cybersecurity department does. They tell you, no, you can't do this the way that you want to. All of this research and development you did, you're going to have to change your plan of action or your course because of this thing that came out or this new vulnerability or whatever it is. So now it's going to take this much longer and it's going to cost us much more money and blah, 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 So definitely being able to handle and having examples of how you have handled those kinds of conversations would be probably my top soft skill for sure for security.
I think we've got one more question I want to touch on. We can touch on it briefly, and then I think it'll relay directly into what you want to talk about next. So a lot of IT jobs, there is a good amount that do require a bachelor's degree. So how do you recommend getting your foot into that first entry-level position when that's not something that you currently possess? What are some options?
Yeah, good question. Well, the first thing I'm going to recommend is searching for the word apprentice. That's a big thing that we do. We partner with employers across the state. There's some great apprenticeship programs out there with IBM that we're about to talk about next. But search for the word apprentice, and a lot of times that will show you, or training program, or training, or even an internship, starting somewhere. Getting your foot in the door with a company to show what you can bring to the table, even if you don't necessarily have that specific qualification. I think it's becoming harder and harder, guys, for people, especially in the tech industry, to say that you have to have a bachelor's degree, because look at the leaders of these tech companies and their backgrounds. They don't necessarily have them. So I think we're doing really great, partnering with employers to help them see there's so much training that's going to happen anyway from day one when you hire somebody. Let's make this an apprenticeship program, and then you can teach them exactly the way that you need them to know how to do your job. And then be open and honest. I would include, in your objective, that you're looking for something entry level, that you're looking to get your foot in the door. Maybe even write a cover letter and explain why you're looking for this job. What gives you your passion for this? Kind of an elevator pitch. Why should somebody take a chance on you, and how they can groom you from the ground up, with the technology and the skills and the education that you do have. You've had a job that's taught you something that you'll be able to transfer. You've taken a class that taught you something that will be able to transfer. So focus on the things that you do have, figure out how to market those, and then make sure you're looking for the right job titles as well. That'd be my best advice. Anybody else?
Totally agree. Transferable skills are huge.
Cool. And Ashley threw in the chat, it looks like, too. Start off with tester type jobs. For if you're looking for a development position, that's a really good idea. If you want to start off, or if you want to get into developing the software, figure out how to test it and break it, and understanding how it works first. And you'll be working with developers, and then you can move into a developer position one day. Or just consider a completely different job. Where I was before, a lot of people started in IT support and worked their way up from there. So open your mind, look for some other stuff, and see where you may want to start. You never know what that journey will look like. All right, guys. So some hot jobs out there. Ashley did some research and found these last night. So they are live, they are currently posted, and people are looking. So that's the good news, right? Is that there's jobs out there. That's step one. We've kind of categorized these once again by those topics, those career paths we were talking about. So our IT operations type jobs we've got up here. All of these, I think, were they all for sure Arkansas? Most of them, I think, were Central Arkansas, right, Ashley? Or did you have some in other locations in the state?
Yes, Google is so smart. It knew my current location. I tried to hack it, but these were the first one that pulled up.
So a lot of these, specifically are going to be Central Arkansas, guys. But I think a lot of our audience is Central Arkansas. A lot of people I've been talking to have been looking in the Central Arkansas area. So a desktop support specialist. Here's a new one, information systems coordinator. Never would have thought to look that up, but a good kind of entry-level help desk type job. Network analyst 1 and 2. This is something you'll see a lot. Just to make sure everybody knows, this is usually entry level. And then some companies, as you have more experience, as you've done more things and learned more skills, they'll kind of move you up to a 2 or a 3 or a senior or whatever. So that's what that means if you see the 1 or 2 or 3. We've got some cyber jobs, and I see the magic word here, apprentice. I think both of these apprenticeships are through IBM. Reputable company, I would say, right? So great cybersecurity apprenticeship here. There's an info security engineer. Everybody loves that word. Where I was before, everybody wanted to be an engineer. So an info security engineer. We've got a couple data analyst jobs here, a junior data scientist apprenticeship, which is super cool. A lot of times you don't see data scientists until you get to like the PhD level of math and things like that. But it sounds super cool, data scientist, and it's another apprenticeship. We've got another IT analyst 1, wonderful sounding entry level position for sure. And then some development jobs, kind of all over the board. We got some good back-end stuff with some C and Unix programming. Programmer analyst is what my old company used to call it, kind of an old school term. Programmer, developer. One of the big things I want to tell you is don't get stuck on the titles. Guys, I know some people only want to be a data scientist, or only want to be an engineer, or only want to be a developer, software engineer, developer. Don't get stuck on the titles. If you're called a programmer in your first job, that's okay. You're still doing the work that you want to do. And if you want that engineer title or developer title one day, you can work towards it then. An associate tester, a software tester type position, and then a UI UX designer. This is a great type position for somebody who's interested in development and has some good design experience, has that more creative side, maybe is that more right-brained than some other super nerdy, logical, math brain people like myself sometimes. Great way to get into the IT space. I've known so many people who started there and then have become fantastic developers. So here's some great jobs. We will send these out. This whole deck we're going to send out, so you guys will have the hyperlinks to all of these to kind of get you started on your search, whichever job board or Google search or company that you want to start with. So that wraps us up. Want to be sure everybody sees all of our contact information. You are welcome to call us. That is actually like our ReSkill phone number, but someone will answer it. Couple different email addresses anytime. And then all of our websites to learn more or apply to the ReSkill Arkansas program. You're welcome to do that or see our events. Other events, we've got, I think, Tech After 5 this week, talking about networking and how that can help you find a job. There's a great event coming up. And then follow us on social media. We post jobs when we know about it. That's a thing I didn't even think about, everybody, is follow some of these companies. Follow them on LinkedIn, follow them on social media. I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan and was playing around on Instagram the other day, and they have a whole careers page. So some companies may have a whole entire career social site. So if you're scrolling anyway, right, you never know what you'll find. So please connect with us. We'll send out what we've got. And if you have any questions, we're here. We love to do this. Our whole recruiting team loves to talk, and we love to talk to you about how to help you find the next IT career, the next thing you want to do. So if we've got any questions in the last couple minutes, we'll be happy to answer and stick around.
I think we do have one question, and if you want to answer it in an email, that's totally fine too. But projects, what kind of projects look good on a resume?
Kind of projects. The ones that you do yourself. Trying to think of kind of project. I mean, something that looks good, that's relevant. If you're applying for a development job, you want a project that's going to showcase your development skills, right? If you're applying for a front-end job, you want a job that's going to show some design and maybe development skills. So a good project would be something that's relevant to the position.
I've seen candidates that were looking for data analyst jobs, and they just downloaded some data from the CDC, cleaned it up, and decided to play around with it and manipulate it. And they just did this for fun. I think for my cybersecurity folks, they have built their own network at home. They have set up, I had one candidate that basically built a mini cyber range just in his basement. And he was like, I just love playing around with this information, and he certainly had the means to do that. Not everybody will, but working through a lot of free online resources and doing some of the prompts that they have online, those certainly help.
Even volunteer. So think of, your favorite nonprofit, maybe it's a women's shelter or boys and girls club. Maybe they need a website for a virtual fundraiser event. Think outside the box to where you're using your network as well as, putting a project, someone that can vouch for your work and really showcase that, you know what, you enjoy to code, that, you know, if an employer offers you a position that, you know, it would be a good fit.
Yeah, I was going to say kind of where your passions and problem solving kind of come together. I love that idea, actually, doing something for somebody that solves a problem. If a nonprofit needs a website, or make your own website that showcases you. Or if you need something, or if your spouse needs something around the house, I'm starting to learn that there's things I could probably use that would make things easier around here. Maybe there's a cool solution. I've heard of people writing code on like a Raspberry Pi to raise and lower their window blinds and not have to do that. So something that's fun that you can do with your resources that's relevant to the job, for sure. If you're doing something in your free time that you get excited about that's related to work, then a recruiter, a hiring manager will feel it and they'll know. They're like, oh my gosh, this person could be watching Netflix and they're programming in Arduino to raise and lower their garage door or whatever, you know. That kind of stuff definitely helps you stand out from the pack. Great question, everybody. Thank you, thank you. Want to be sure everybody knows that you will definitely get a copy of this. Feel free to reach out anytime. We appreciate your time and your questions and your attendance. And want to say thanks again.
If we missed your question for whatever reason, totally possible, we will email you, certainly.
All right.
All right, everybody. Have a great one. Thank you so much.